Hi.
Hi, what happened?
Um, so when I set up the meeting, it said it was going to be unlimited time, and then it really wasn't. And so I tried to upgrade, and it wouldn't let me upgrade. So I guess we're just going to have to start the meeting again.
Okay,
Sorry.
let's do it again because yeah, we're not done.
Yeah, we're not done. But I apologize. I just
Okay.
do my best.
You're doing great, Keith.
I have a question for Kaitlyn.
Yeah.
And by the way, you girls are so beautiful, and every time I see you, you just get more beautiful, just more and more and more beautiful. I love you so much, and your testimony is so touching. I am so happy to hear all that, and having my son come home too. I relate a little bit watching him, imagining what you are experiencing coming home and the wonderful experiences that you had on your mission. And I'm so grateful for this opportunity for you to share them, because I think that's so important to be able to share what and remember what you learned, but also for us to benefit as well. And I learned so much from what you talk about, and so thank you. My question is, I was just imagining, and Malachi would comment that, you know, as you have spoken different language on your mission, and Malachi did the same thing. He says you have to process that as you're speaking English, and so when was the first? I mean, I know you had language for, was it 6 weeks that you had to study and learn the language? When did it really start coming? Like, I look at you and I'm sorry, I'm an emotional person, so I cry. I am in awe at the fact that you can speak, you have the gift of tongues. And I think that is so amazing. I imagine you speaking, when I was hearing you speak English, I could, in my mind, see you speaking to the people of Sweden in their language. And I just am in awe. So tell me a little bit of how that came. Was it hard? Was it when it was fluent? Tell us a little bit about that.
Wow, yeah. Learning Swedish was tough, but it was cool at the same time. It was really a special experience, receiving that gift of tongues, like you were saying, because it doesn't come the way that you feel like it will. I remember thinking that the gift of tongues was going to be, I was going to be able to remember all these words and be able to retain information better. I don't know. But then when it got down to it, learning the language was not easy, and it was still a lot of work. But it was really cool because we, as a mission, we have this goal to speak. We call it SYL, speak your language. We would always try to speak our language outside of the apartment. Anytime we were in the apartment, it was okay to speak English because, you know, your mouths kind of need a break sometimes. But anytime we were outside of the apartment, we would try to speak our language. And I remember at the beginning of my mission, that was hard. My trainer and I, we would really struggle. Like, well, she wouldn't struggle, I would struggle. She was probably struggling because she would try to explain things to me in Swedish, and I had no idea what she was saying. And she probably felt like she had to do a lot on her own. But I remember that at one point, my mission president said something along the lines of, in order to learn a new language, you have to make X amount of mistakes. Like, it was a very large number, like 40,000 or I don't know, some large number of mistakes before you can become like, feel like you're comfortable with the language. And he said, it's up to you how fast you're going to make those mistakes. And so eventually, while I was training, I got to this point where I was like, okay, well, I can't speak this language yet, but I'm just gonna speak what I can and make as many mistakes as I possibly can and learn and just try to learn. And so that kind of became my motto with Swedish, was like, just share, like, what's that? It's like you just go. You just speak and don't think too much about the grammar, because the grammar can sometimes stress you out and cause you to not like speak your mind. If you don't know how to say something, it's okay, just try anyway. And so I feel like that was kind of my motto with learning Swedish. And I feel like it wasn't until I was in my third area, probably. So I don't know, probably, how far along was I in my mission? About 8 or 9 months that I really started feeling comfortable, feeling like I could speak the language. But I was actually just talking to a coworker the other day that served as like another language mission, speaking another language. And the funny thing is, the longer you've been out on the mission, the more you learn and the more you realize that you don't know, especially with like grammar and sounding, like pronunciation. You get out there and you feel like you can speak the language pretty well, and then you start realizing, oh wait, I still make a lot of mistakes. So yeah, I would say I can speak Swedish, but I don't sound like a Swede, and I don't have perfect grammar, but I was able to teach the lessons, and I was able to talk with people, and I was able to fulfill my purpose as a missionary. And I think that in and of itself is a gift of God, because it's crazy learning a new language in just 18 months. So yeah.
Kaitlyn,
Yeah.
have you spoken in Swedish on this call? Because we got kicked off.
I haven't spoken in Swedish. If
We
you want me to, I can.
We would love to hear you either just speak or say your testimony.
I can
That would be
absolutely bear my
awesome.
testimony in Swedish. Do you want me to do that at the end, or do you want me to do that right now?
Oh
Or is
no,
this-
I didn't know we got kicked off, so I
Oh,
said sorry, you're done, and so we had to get back on.
yeah, everybody got kicked off, so you're
Oh,
good.
is that the okay?
Yeah.
The meeting ended, and then we had to start a new one.
Okay.
We all had to get back on. But I was thinking the same thing, Krista, that maybe at the end when we finish up and after questions or something, to have her share her testimony in that language, because I just think that would be the
Yeah,
highlight
so
as
beautiful.
well. Yeah.
And Addison has something she wants to show you. Addison, she left the room. She's got lots of
Oh.
energy.
I
Come on, Addie.
understand.
You don't have to let.
She wanted to show you this, but you can't see it. It says,
Just read it, Addie.
I love you, Katie.
Oh, I love you, Addie.
anyway, it was just wonderful. I was going to say something else. It was wonderful to see how much you grew on your mission, and how much I noticed that you were, in your letters, you had a section of what you learned, and then the funny things that you did on your mission. And what a wonderful thing that you focused on both those areas, because it just makes your mission just so much more meaningful when you look at all the blunders, possible blunders, and then you look at all the wonderful things that happen, and the blessings and the joy and the cookies you made, and it was just wonderful to see that.
We love getting compliments from extended family that would say, I just love those missionary letters from Kaitlyn.
Oh,
So
wow.
And my dad looked forward to every time they came through. He's like, I read the letter from Kaitlyn. She's doing great. I don't have to worry about her. She's doing great. So anyway.
Oh, that's good. I'm
so-
glad to hear. I'm not gonna lie, at the end of my mission, those started becoming less, like, they were less and less frequent.
Yeah, it happens.
But
Yeah, yep,
It's
it
fine.
happens to all of us. But Anne has something.
okay, go ahead.
First of all, I would like to say that you have a glow about you, and I hope you never ever lose that. And I can see that it's spreading on to Samantha and Mallory, and they're getting that glow too. They're so cute. But you are mature beyond years. I agree with Krista in the amount of growth that we can feel just from, as you shared these 3 stories, I took notes because I'm a note person, but I love the stories that you chose because I thought they were actually good examples of what a good missionary does. And you were. It was fun for us to be missionaries at the same time as you, because when we would read yours, we're going, cool, missionaries rock.
Yes.
We kept wishing we could be there. One of our experiences that we loved was we got to teach the younger missionaries how to do family history work and how to use that as part of their proselyting and their missionary efforts. And it was so fun to work with the young missionaries because you all have this energy and this vibe that is very contagious. So I just think the Lord blessed you abundantly with that, not only to feel joy, but to express joy and share the joy. Because you can keep all that joy to yourself, but I loved how you did all of that. What about the country? The church itself is rather, I'm assuming, rather small there. Lots of branches, maybe not so many wards. Did the people have to travel far? What kind of sacrifices do those members there have to go through to keep the church going, to keep themselves strong in the church?
That's an awesome question. I love that. Yeah, in Sweden, the church is really small. There are, in Stockholm, there are some bigger wards, right? And especially right next to the temple, there's some bigger wards. But the remainder of my mission, I was in smaller branches. I guess my second area was a bigger ward. Well, big for Sweden, not like a Utah ward, but the areas for the ward boundaries in Sweden are massive. That's why in most of my areas, I actually, not every area in Sweden has a car, but in a lot of the areas there is a car, because in order to visit members, you have to drive for a while, because members they live farther away and the ward boundaries are so big that everyone has to commute to get to the church. But the members in Sweden are probably one of my most favorite parts about the country, because they are absolutely incredible. They are so diligent and so willing to do everything they can to just help the church move forward. There's something that is really special to the missionaries in Sweden, but also to the members in Sweden. It's called the Second Harvest. It's it's actually, I guess you could call it a prophecy from I don't remember everything about it. But anyway, there's one of the prophets came to Sweden to speak to the members at one point, and they talked about, well, it's not only one prophet, it's been mentioned multiple times from different people, about how a long time ago there were many, many people that were converted in Sweden, and they all traveled to the Americas. And it's been prophesied that there will be another great second harvest that's going to be bigger than the first in Sweden, which is something that the members hold very dearly, because with the church being so small in Sweden, and the idea and the promise that they've received from apostles and prophets that there will be another second harvest, another harvest in their country where people will again be drawn to the gospel, is huge for them. And so you'll hear that a lot in Sweden. People will reference the second harvest and how people are going to be drawn to the gospel again. And one of the pieces of the second harvest is the fact that it will begin because of the members there, the members doing the missionary work. It doesn't say when the missionaries go out and they do their missionary things. It talks about the members doing member missionary work. And to give you an idea of how hard being a member missionary can be in Sweden, in my third area, our bishop's wife, she was a nurse, and she worked as a nurse, and she had co-workers. And one time we were over at her house, and we were talking to her about member missionary work, and she talked about some of the struggles that she had with her coworkers when they found out that she was religious. They didn't even know which denomination that she was a member of, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. They just knew that she was religious. And they made a lot of rude comments to her because a lot of people, sadly, in Sweden think of religion kind of as something that makes you weak. Sorry, Anne, did you say something? You're on mute.
Oh, you said something makes the people, and I couldn't hear that word.
Oh, people in Sweden sometimes, not everyone obviously, but a big theme that people can have is that they believe that religion kind of makes you weak.
Oh, wait.
It's something that people who don't have enough power to move on themselves, they feel as though they rely on God because they can't get on with life by themselves.
Okay.
And so that is so sad, I think. But I remember this member just telling us about, she told us about all of this and these feelings that some people in Sweden can have about religion. And I remember just sitting there in awe of this specific member and then all of the members in Sweden, because I definitely saw that as a missionary. When you're out there wearing the name of Jesus Christ over your heart, you can feel, you can definitely feel when people are not approved. They don't approve of what you're doing. But as a missionary, I didn't care, you know. But I can't ever imagine, like, my respect for the members is so, I just love them so much because they stand up for their beliefs, even though they know that it could make them a social exile in their workplace or in whatever they're going through, whatever situation they're in. But the members in Sweden make a lot of sacrifices for their beliefs, and they're incredible people. So if you ever meet a member from Sweden, ask them about life in Sweden. But does that answer
From Gayleen. Do you see that question from Gayleen? Do you want me to read it to you?
I haven't been looking at the chat. Sorry, my bad.
No problem. Do you see that question from Gayleen?
Yes. Do you struggle with people because they really don't marry? Yes.
Yeah.
No, leave it alone. Sorry. Okay. Those are good questions. So we did, yeah, there were definitely a lot of people that weren't married that we taught. And so, I mean, you just teach them about the law of chastity and you have that conversation with them. And yeah.
So did you have some that believed, but they're just like, I can't get married because I know the government, you know, they get better tax breaks and stuff when they're not married.
Oh, I see. I didn't run into that a whole lot, but I know that there are missionaries that did. I don't know. I didn't teach a whole bunch of couples. I taught a lot of individuals on my mission. But there were, yeah, I don't know. I don't have a very good answer to that question.
That's okay. I wondered if you ran into that.
Yeah.
Just with Operation Smile, there's a lot of Swedish nurses, and they're like, "Oh, I'm engaged." And I say, "Well, when are you getting married?" And they're like, "Oh, that means nothing. You know, I'll never get married."
Yeah, that's definitely a mindset in Sweden. People, they have this thing, they call it sambo, which is where you're not married, but you're not engaged, but you're like together and you plan on being together for forever, but like they just don't feel like marriage is something that is really necessary. they feel like it's kind of a piece of paper, which is super sad. But I feel like most of the time when I would teach people the law of chastity and our beliefs, they were really respectful of it. They saw the value in waiting until after marriage, and just like they saw the value in that family-centered sort of thing. Because Swedes, they're very family-oriented. They love their families. They're very close with their families. But marriage is just not something that they feel is required to have a family. But there are still many people that get married there. It's kind of 50-50. But does that answer your question, Daly?
She's still trying.
Yeah, that I was just interested.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I didn't have a very good answer for that.
No,
But,
that's great. I just, that's, just wondered.
Yeah. As far as favorite foods, there's one food that I love that I learned to make, and my family doesn't like it as much as I do. But it's called kladdkaka. It's pretty much this like big thing of brownies that's really like mushy, and like it's kind of like fudge brownies, but better. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite things. I really like kladdkaka. They also have these things called semlor, which is like a seasonal dessert that they have, where it's like this pastry where they have like this almond. Does anyone know what marzipan is? Yes? Okay, I see Sherry saying she knows what that is. Okay, yeah, so they take like and Dad, okay, so people know what that is. It's kind of just like this, not gelatinous substance, but it's like they have this almond stuff on the inside called marzipan, and they put like a whole bunch of cream on there, and yeah, those are really good too. Yeah.
Marzipan, from my experience, was kind of a bubblegum frosting.
Kind of like that, but they flavor it almond, like with almond extract.
Yum.
Right,
And
the
so-
consistency.
What?
The consistency, like
Yeah.
having it in your mouth.
It's like bubble gum.
Well, it's not bubblegum. It's almost like a thick frosting that kind of has little grains in it, but it's not grain. I don't know. I don't know how to
Wedding
describe it.
cakes will often have it on it. Wedding cakes,
Is
and
that yeah?
it looks like it's just poured onto these cakes. You know, these beautifully but wedding cakes will have them on it.
I didn't
So,
know that. Very
but
cool.
just more. I mean, maybe it's not the most traditional.
Hold
But
on. Maybe marzipan is different than what, because I think I know what you're talking about, and I think this is something different.
Isn't marzipan more like a paste, and it tastes
Yes.
like almond?
Yes.
It looks kind of like this. If you buy it in a,
Pastry.
can buy it in a tube,
We'll find it.
if you can see that.
Yeah.
And then, but you just put it on the inside of these pastries, and they're super good.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Both fondants, the stuff.
that was a fun treat that we would get.
So are you gonna make this stuff for us when this quarantine's over? Because those both sound delicious.
Yes, I don't know if I can make marzipan. I'll have to experiment, or not marzipan. I don't know if I can make semlor, but I will experiment. But I will make you guys kladdkaka. We can all fika together.
I think kladdkaka sounds awesome.
It is. It's this chocolatey deliciousness.
Oh, kladdkaka. I love
I think you need to change the name though.
I know. My mom
Pick
says
the name.
the same thing. But the word kaka in Swedish is cake.
Kaka. I like the name kaka. I think it sounds awesome.
My
Kladdkaka.
mom says it sounds
Well,
kaka. Like
Kent
disgusting.
makes panukaku from Finland,
Wait,
but
what?
it's like Kent makes panukaku, and it's from Finland, but it's like pancake.
Oh.
The pancake made in a pan, and it bubbles up. It's anyway.
Huh.
But kaka.
Kaka.
Oh.
It's not a cake. Anyway.
That sounds good.
It does
I have
sound
a
good.
companion from Finland, actually. She would make some interesting food. That's good.
Malachi said that some of his recipes and things that we tried to make them, but the problem was finding the same ingredients as there are in those countries.
Yeah.
They're very similar, but it not quite. It doesn't quite make exactly. But we have tried. I mean, maybe we could go to some of those special restaurants or special stores that only
They
have.
have some world food markets too. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're open yet, but they do have some world food markets. You probably pick up some ingredients.
We'll try that as soon as we get one open. But
Very fun. That's awesome. There's one last food that I want to tell you guys about. It's called surströmming. It's this kind of pickled fish that they have. Nobody really likes it, but it's like this big Swedish tradition where they have, like, in the summer, they have this big surströmming fest, and they all get together and they eat this disgusting fish. And it's like world renowned for its smell. It's disgusting. It smells like death. It smells awful. So in my first area, it's a thing for the missionaries to experience surströmming. We have to eat it at least once in order to have the experience. And so what they have this stuff called knäckebröd, which is like hard bread. It's almost kind of like a cracker. And then you put a lot of butter on the knäckebröd with mashed potatoes and like peppers and all these like different stuff. And then you take like little bits of this fish and you put it on there. Like, you don't put a lot on. It's mostly just for like to make it taste salty. And then you eat it. But yeah, it wasn't very good. But if you ever look up on the internet surströmming, you can see people opening up surströmming and like dry heaving and vomiting because of the smell. It's so bad. You have to open it outside underwater because otherwise the smell just gets everywhere. Anyway, so that's an interesting food that they have.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But yes. Does anyone have any questions? If not, I can bear my testimony in Swedish. You ready for me to bear my? Okay. So, now jag vill bara dela med mig av mitt vittnesbörd med er om att jag vet att Jesus Kristus är min frälsare. Jag vet att han älskar alla sina barn. Jag är så tacksam över att jag fick dela med mig av det här budskapet till mina medsyskon i Sverige. Över att jag fick vittna om mormons bok och vittna till dem om att deras frälsare förstår det som de går igenom och att han älskar dem och att han vill vara med dem fast. Ja. Jag vet att Josef Smith är en Guds profet och att han återställde Guds kyrka igen på jorden och att han gav sitt liv för att kunna ge oss kunskapen som vi har idag. Jag är tacksam att jag vet att om jag tror på Kristus kan jag övervinna allt. Och jag är tacksam för lektionerna som jag fick lära mig om min motion som lärde mig hur jag kan komma närmare min frälsare och hur jag kan hjälpa mina syskon som söker efter någonting mer. Jag älskar dig, Fader. Och jag lämnar detta med er i Jesu Kristi namn. Amen. Amen.
thank you so much, Kaitlyn. I don't know if Keith is occupied, so I'll speak on behalf of.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
I think we all felt the Savior in you, and I look at you as a missionary, and I think how amazing that you are truly His disciple. You know, when you go out and preach the gospel and teach of Jesus Christ. And so thank you for dedicating that time and for sharing your time with us and your testimony. And I really felt, I'm just crying when you're bearing your testimony in a different language, because I can truly feel that spirit. So I just wanted to mention that. I don't know if anyone else has any final comments as well, or you do.
Awesome.
Thank you. We love you.
Thank you.
Guys,
You are gonna.
I'm setting this up. Love you. It was really great to see you guys. It was so awesome.
Hey, Rachel.
Thank you, Kaitlyn.
Thank you.
Take care of yourselves.
We love you.
The state's turning to yellow, so we can get out again.
Yay!
So,
Crazy.
That's great.
Virtual hugs for now.
yeah.
Thanks, Storm.
Oh, there's Lily. Lily woke up.
Hi, Lily.
Hi. She's so cute.
Hi, Lily.
Love you, Kaitlyn. Bye.
Aw.
So,
Thank you.
Bye, Madison. Thank you all.
Bye. Love you all.
Hey, Ann and Joe,
Yes. Yes.
you bear your testimony in Maori. Yeah,
No.
Kia ora. Kia ora.
that's the one word you learned?
Didn't learn enough to speak Maori, no.
Yay.
The New Zealand accent?
No. Oh, I wish I had that New Zealand accent. That
It's
is,
just a British accent.
it's so cool.
Oh, it's different.
Boy, it's different than British.
Yeah.
It's very different than British.
It's no, I wish we could. We loved hearing those people speak, but we just learned a few words here and there everywhere we went. You know, bula. Every country had their own little words we would say. Hello, how are you? Goodbye. Didn't learn another language, unfortunately. Maori's pretty tough, actually.
Yeah.
We have a Maori Book of Mormon here. I guess we could start studying it. Can kids still speak Finnish?
No, not anymore.
It's hard.
It's a few words.
Hey, before we end, let's set up a time to hear Malachi report his mission to us.
That's what I was going to say too. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I want to hear that big boy. Look at that smile.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here because
when can we do him? Where did Keith go?
I don't know. He may be tied up on another call or something. He's in the office. He's in the room behind us, but we're in the same house.
Okay, I'm back. I apologize, but
we want to schedule a time for Malachi.
How about next week at 10 o'clock?
That won't work for us.
Oh, okay.
Because our granddaughter's getting married next Saturday. We'll be down at Katie Joe's.
Okay.
I guess we could, maybe if they're okay with doing, we were going to have church with them next Sunday morning. Whatever, if you schedule it, we'll try to accommodate that.
We could do it in 2 weeks because.
No, that's getting too long, far away. Do you think we could do that next Sunday with them?
Yes, but we could. More. 2 weeks is probably fine too.
You schedule it and we'll